My name is Dr Hellen Natu. I'm the regional manager for Nile Basin Discourse. The Nile Basin Discourse is an independent voice for grassroots communities in 10 countries of the River Nile, starting from Burundi, DR Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. We link up communities to governments, to intergovernmental organizations, and at the moment we've been working on engaging civil society on climate resilience. For the Nile riparian countries, there are some that are more affected by climate security. For example, if we look at Sudan, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, there has been drought, persistent, and even floods in some of the countries. And because of this has led to migration, transboundary migration, moving from one country to another. And this affects the development programs, subsidiary action programs that the government try to undertake. It also affects cooperation. When communities move or stakeholders move from one country to another, then the cooperation of that country, those two countries that share the resources comes in question, because each country has its own sovereignty and they have to consider their sovereignty development plans. So this has, climate security has really affected some of the countries, but at different levels in the Nile riparian states. I would like to see that the communities are at the center of development and planning, and that they are empowered to be proactive enough to also play a role in the reduction of the climate security in the Nile Basin riparian states. And I would also like to see that these communities are linked to the governments, so that they also play a role in enhancing the fast tracking of the transformative agenda that the countries have when it comes to climate SDG, like SDG 13 on climate change. I would like also the international communities to look into the funding, the support, the financial support of platforms that can discuss on climate risk in the Nile riparian states. And another important point is bringing in the gender aspect, the women and the young people, because these form the groups that are really vulnerable when climate security impacts itself in these riparian states. I think the most important thing that is really maybe not working is having enough funds. The financial aspects to this, like the stakeholders to undertake, and also the coordinated kind of tasking and functioning, so that there is no overlap, because you find organizations are haphazardly responding to the climate security in the region, and because of that there is duplication, there is overlap, and that's costly. But if there is coordination, then of course the $1 will be spent meaningfully on that particular activity, while another dollar is on another activity. There are quite a number of stakeholders that are pertinent to tackle this problem. First, even the communities themselves, they have a role to play. Then the governments, they have a role to play. The intergovernmental organizations, let's say IGAD, the Nile Basin Initiative, and also our Nile Basin Discourse, that we can create platforms at different levels to enable these stakeholders dialogue and on emerging issues when it comes to climate change, and agree on the way forward. But the international community is very important, because they come in with, they do policy analysis and can advise. and they also bring in the financial element, because we need the financial element for us to task what is happening in the region.